Hello, I'm Francois, and welcome to The Ginger Chef. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This episode is called Sweet Endings, which means we are going to be making all kinds of savory dishes. That's a joke. We're going to make sweet dishes. Ha ha ha. Now I'm going to warn you up front. These dishes are really, really tasty. Okay? So you might want to get some kind of protection. In an environment like this, people are going to come and try to steal your food. Anyway, so here to help me out is my good friend Sarah Lester.
Hello!
Hello, Sarah.
How are you?
I'm well and you.
Good, thank you.
Sarah, what are we making today?
Today we're making simple vanilla cupcakes and peppermint crisp pudding.
Peppermint crisp pudding?
Peppermint crisp pudding.
Peppermint crisp pudding?
Shut up.
Okay. Let's go!
Okay, so now we're going to make a peppermint crisp pudding. For this you should use an electric beater, but you can do it by hand. This just makes it a whole lot quicker. So first of all, we're going to start off with Orly whip. People call it Orly whip, whatever you want to call it. This is a non-dairy cream equivalent, and you get it where the milk is in all supermarkets, so except for Woolies. So if you go to Pick n Pay or Checkers and Spar, you'll find this there. So Francois, grab one of these packets and just open it up and pour it in. Now, when you do this, these need to be cold, so keep them in the fridge but not the freezer. Where's a pair of scissors?
Yeah, I got this.
I don't. Mine's gonna go everywhere.
I just pour it all
Yeah, just pour it all in there. The reason we use Orly whip is because it's a lot lighter than cream, and it's not nearly as bad for you. It doesn't have nearly as much fat or calories, as well as cholesterol issues. Now when you beat this, it needs to be cold, like cold. It needs to be between 2 and 7 degrees. So this has been in the fridge for a couple of hours, and it's as cold as it's going to get. Now Francois is going to take the electric beater, and when you beat, when you start off, have the bowl at an angle so that it sprays up into the bowl. Okay, now just beat that until it's 3 times the size. So now you can see, when you take the whip out, it holds very soft peaks, and that's how you want it to be. So now we're going to add a caramel treat. It's just a tin that you get with the condensed milk in any supermarket. If you don't have caramel treat, you can boil condensed milk for like 8 hours and it turns into caramel treat. Be very careful because those are very sharp edges. Do you want to play? So you just pour all of that in. Just use a spoon or a knife to help coerce it out. And you want to get everything in the tin out. And all the juices, everything. And now Francois is going to beat that again. When you first start, because the caramel treat is solid, kind of prod it to break it up a little bit before you switch it on. So just kind of prod it, break it up a little bit, squish it around, and now you can start beating it. Just keep it now, just like, you put it on high. Now just take a spatula or a spoon and just take all the bits on the side out and round and bring it into the middle, just to make sure everything's beaten in. You'll see at the top it's very light compared in color to the bottom. So you want to make sure you mix it really well. And we're going to beat it again now, just to make sure it's all smooth. Beat it until the caramel, you can't see bits of caramel anymore, so you can still see little bits just there, like that. and beat it again until it's smooth. So now the best way to chop up your peppermint crisp is freeze it for like an hour. Unfortunately, we didn't have time to do that. And then just hit it with the back of a knife. Everywhere. But go quite gently, especially along the edges, because the packet will explode. And then you've got peppermint crisp everywhere. And make sure you got all the edges. Perfect. Now, be careful when you're doing that, because you are using the back of a knife. You can use anything that has quite a blunt tool at the end of it. And then you just pour your peppermint crisp in. You'll see, because it wasn't frozen, it's whole here, but we'll beat it again to break it up. Don't you want to grab the other two and put it again? Now that you've got 2.5 broken up peppermint crisps in, beat it again and make sure all of it like breaks up into little pieces. Now take a 20 centimeter square dish. You can actually use whatever you want. If, as a student, use a pot, use a bowl, whatever you can get your hands on. These are normal baker's tennis biscuits, and you're going to layer them. One layer on the bottom and one layer halfway through. So we're just going to layer 9 biscuits down. And it doesn't matter if they break, it'll actually make life easier because these won't fit perfectly. So just layer 3 by 3. Do you want to grab some biscuits, Francois? So you can see in the corners they don't quite fit, so just push them down to break them. Perfect. Now take approximately half of your batter and just spoon it over. So kind of halfway and spoon it on there. Be very careful when pushing it to the sides because your biscuits will slip. Do that side. Push it right into the corners. And it doesn't matter if it's messy because we're going to do another layer. So once you grab some biscuits and start layering. So that was basically a whole packet bar 2 biscuits of tennis biscuits. And again, Francois, you want to fill it up, take the rest of the batter. It might not all fit, but the mousse should cover the rest. Okay, so I'm just going to move you over. In the meanwhile, take the leftover half peppermint crisp and chop it up finely. So we've already bashed this one up, but the chocolate's still stuck, so just get quite a big knife and just chop it up very finely. All different directions. So you'll see that the more you chop, obviously the finer it's going to get. And this is much easier if the chocolate is frozen beforehand. Perfect, Francois. Now all we're going to do to end it off is chuck the peppermint crisp over. You can make pretty patterns or you can just chuck it over. Or you could do that, exactly what Francois just did. So try kind of cover the top in all the spots, and we're done. Now refrigerate that for at least 2 hours before consuming, because then your biscuits will go a little bit softer and it's just delicious smush. And that concludes our peppermint crisp pudding.
So I'll see you guys next time on The Ginger Chef. Remember, I'm not the only hot thing in the kitchen.